Ollie, what is next here in terms of the Russia-US negotiations for a Ukraine ceasefire? I know that Trump's spoken to Zelensky as well as Putin, but what I want to ask you is it the case that Europe has been sidelined here?
I think it's fair to say that it's the case that Europe has been completely sidelined here, and this is very much the feeling that you get when you sort of observe these leader meetings and you sort of listen to the press conferences and you hear what the European leaders have to say. They're really sort of in reaction mode to everything that the Trump administration is doing, and they're not at this point. Now, we've been hearing from the Trump administration that at some point the Europeans will be involved in some of these discussions. At this point, they really are not, though we did hear from that conversation with Steve Witkoff yesterday that he did brief Emmanuel Macron on the phone personally after the call with President Trump, and Macron apparently, according to Witkoff, reacted sort of very positively. But really the task for European leaders today is less about sort of their sort of particular influence on Ukraine today, but basically how they're going to gain relevance going forward in terms of their defense industry, their defense build-out. And what they're going to do today is going to basically put into action, put into sort of concrete terms, the proposal that we got from Ursula von der Leyen, the European Commission president, a couple of weeks ago, the Rearm Europe plan. These are different initiatives that are going to be sort of going across the EU, so that they include a 150 billion euro loan that is going to be sort of available to the European Union member states in order to build out European defense capabilities. We should say that increasingly they're much more concerned with buying European in terms of these defense capabilities. Of course, there's a limited supply of what they can actually get from Europe, but that is part of the goal of what they're building out. They're going to potentially change the EIB, the European Investment Bank's investment mandate, so they can invest directly into defense. They're going to redirect some funds. They're going to change those fiscal rules. So that is the stuff that we heard from Ursula von der Leyen a couple of weeks ago. This is the meeting at which the European leaders will put that into actual language and make forward progress in terms of concrete measures.